everyone. Chef Ed Kenney is a business graduate of the University of Colorado, as well as a graduate of the Culinary Institute of Pacific's Culinary Arts Program at KCC, and training in some of Honolulu's top restaurants. In 2005, he opened his first restaurant, Town, in Kaimuki, followed by Downtown in 2007 in the Hawaii State Art Museum. His restaurants are guided by the mantra, local first, organic whenever possible, with aloha always, and have both received local and national accolades. He is a contributing chef in the Hawaii Farmers Market cookbooks and sits on the board of directors for the Ma'o Organic Farms, the Kokua Hawaii Foundation, Sustain Hawaii, and is on the advisory committees for Hogan Entrepreneurs and the Culinary Arts programs at Leeward Community College and Kapiolani Community College. Chef will be participating with 22 other celebrity chefs in the Hawaii Food and Wine Festival event for Hawaii's sustainable future, promoting farm-to-table, sustainable sourcing and cooking practices. Please welcome to Macy's Chef Ed Kenney.
And it's her. Jeez. And actually, this is my boy Duke. So Duke. Oh, you got one for Duke too. So you don't take one from me. The family that cooks together stays together. Let's get this party started. I don't know if any of you have seen me at these sorts of things before, but I always try to get the energy up a little bit by throwing bags of Ma'o organic greens out into the crowd. I think maybe all guys want to be rock stars, and you think about how you can throw t-shirts out in the crowd. So it's usually greens, but we used them all up the other night. So I've got a bunch of t-shirts for you guys. Honolulu, these are collector's items. This restaurant's actually closing next month. So this is going to go out. Woo! I don't know, we got this. So, yeah, they're all different sizes. This is an extra large. I think. This is an extra small, really small. One more. Back row. There'll be other little treats later, but it's only if you can answer some questions. So you got to pay attention. The dish we're doing today is not what we're going to do at the Hawaii Food and Wine Festival. Actually, we can start out. Thank you for coming today. So you're supporting the Hawaii Food and Wine Festival, which is a 4-day event down at various hotels in Waikiki in the beginning of September. Last year was the first event like this. It's been put on by Roy Yamaguchi and Alan Wong. Actually, there's a face behind it. Denise back here is the one that actually does all the work. So let's hear it for Denise and Gabrielle. So the Food and Wine Festival is something that's incredible for Hawaii. 25 years ago, these trailblazers came in. Alan, Roy, Sam, Chef Mavro paved the way for what's happening now. And we kind of got on a national level this reputation that Hawaii was stagnant. These trailblazers did what they do, but nothing came out of it. But there's really good, exciting things happening here in our food scene, and the Food and Wine Festival actually, is this not working? I'll just talk loud. Food and Wine Festival is what gave exposure to what we're doing here. Last year, as a result of it, Travel and Leisure, Sunset Magazine, all these big publications wrote about Hawaii's new and up-and-coming food scene. I see the farm-to-table cuisine that was started by Roy and Alan, we've taken it to even a deeper level, a conscious level about really where our food comes from. There's a story behind everything we make and everything we eat. Today, we are doing a dish that my boy Duke entered in the Haleiwa Taro Festival 2 years ago. With 24 other entrants. The rest of them were all over 30. He was 9 at the time, and he took first prize. we won a couple nights stay at Turtle Bay. We found a babysitter, and me and his mom took the we thought about it though. So what we're doing, the dish, what we're calling it, quote unquote, steak and poi. It's based on my mom, who's there in the back row, her favorite dish of all time. I remember as a kid, my mom going to the supermarket, leaving me in the car, running in, I'll be right back, comes back with a bag of poi and a steak, goes home, cooks it up, sits by herself and eats steak and poi. It's her death row. It's her death row dinner. If she was gonna be put to death on death row, she would, and she had to have her last meal. I think that's what it would be. So this is what it's been based on. But rather than just poi, there's recently been this resurgence of this product called pa'i'ai. Who knows what pa'i'ai is? Yeah, this is great. 3 people. Who knows what poi is? Just about everybody. Pa'i'ai is hand-pounded poi, something that not many of us ever were familiar with, because come mechanization, you can't make pa'i'ai with a machine. You actually have to kui your kalo with a pohaku on a papa. So what we've done here, we got moi kalo. This is from Sticky Farms in Waihole, raised by Chance Tom, and sorry if I go into all this because this is what's really important to me. Chance Tom and Eric Chun, 2.0 graduates, excuse me.
Is that cooked already?
This is cooked already. This is cooked. So this is how you, if you were to make it at home, you would just boil your kalo. Actually, it's best to put in a pressure cooker, and it takes a good couple hours. If you don't cook it long enough, you have that oxalic acid, I believe it's called. I'm not sure if that's how it's pronounced, but yeah, tongue and your throat constrict, and it's not a pleasurable feeling. So you'll do it, and you'll just cut the skin off. There's these eyes right below the skin, so you don't really want to go too close to the skin. Don't worry about getting rid of too much of the flesh. Below that, there is a layer that's referred to as Moana, and what they'll do to get it really nice is just scrape it. This is the nicest part of the kalo, but it's always scraped off, and I don't know why, but we use this as well. We use it in breads. We save it, freeze it, and then once we've got enough, we add it to bread dough to make like taro bread. So what you'll do is you start with a corm of kalo like this, and you just start bashing it. And you don't want to use too much water, but you just keep going, and then you eventually end up with something like this. You want to try to give it a couple whacks. This is kind of Duke's job. Just get it right here. This one. This is Duke's job. This is a little wet. It's usually not this wet. It was sitting in the water. Duke does this at home, out in front. Sunday dinners at home. Quite frequently we have hand-pounded pa'i'ai. So the trick to it is not too much water. When you make poi with a machine, you have to add water or else the machine gets gummed up. You noticed, you bring a bag of poi home, you put it in the fridge, 1 day later it's sour, 2 days later it's super sour, 3 days later it's like almost too sour to eat. Actually, some people like it that way. The water is what makes it that way. Pa'i'ai was actually something that the Hawaiians used to travel for months at sea with. They'd wrap it in a pu'olo like this. Because it has very limited water content, it does not go sour. It's totally shelf stable. It doesn't always stay soft like this, but there's nothing like pa'i'ai off the board, and you folks will have an opportunity to try it when you come home. All the people that go yup when they hear about poi, they have pa'i'ai and they have a whole new outlook on taro. So what they'll do is they'll just wrap it in a pu'olo like this, and you can cut it open. And this one's going to be kind of scary maybe for some of you, but it's like cheese. It tends to get some molds on it, just like you would in a cheese aging cave in Europe. It's been done for centuries, and all they do is just cut off the outside, and you're free to use it just as you will. You can. From this, you can make poi. You add water, you ovali it with your hands. one thing that I always say with, is you never serve poi with anything but your bare hands. So if you're even at a baby luau or anything, it's in many circles it's considered bad luck to serve poi with a spoon. Usually there's someone there with a bowl with a wet hand, and they go like this to your plate, and they'll just drop it on your plate barehanded. So yeah, you can volley it with your hands and add some water, and you'll get something like poi, or you can use. But yeah, this is available just like that in little 1 pound things at Whole Foods. You can bring it home. We pan fry it. We mix it into bread dough, waffle dough, pancake dough. You can make it into poi. There's some people that are cutting it, smashing it, making little tostones like you would make with green bananas. But for today, we're going to pan fry it. So. You just cut little slabs like this, and they can be pan fried with some butter. The next part of this dish is the steak. Here we have 2 beautiful pieces of Hawai'i ranch strip loin. I think on the thing it says flat iron. Flat iron is a steak from the shoulder of the animal. Usually consider a butcher's cut because butchers, there's only 2 per animal, and they're small, and they'll usually take them home for themselves. So we're fortunate enough to get it at the restaurant. But they didn't come in this week's shipment, so we ended up using strip loin. This is from Hawai'i Ranch in Ka'u on the Big Island, very bottom South Point. Cattle been raised by the Galimba family. Michelle Galimba was a classmate of mine at Punahou School. She has a PhD in comparative literature and has a blog, and it escapes me right now. But if you go to Hawai'i Ranch and you link to her blog, it's just incredible the insight that this woman had. I picture this woman like way down where there's no electricity with an oil lamp and a feather quill, writing this really, really profound stuff. So farmers, to me, they spend so much time out there on the open range by themselves. They get to think about the way the world is, and getting a chance to actually hear what a farmer has to say just about these sorts of things is really interesting to me. So this is Hawai'i Ranch strip loin. It is 100% antibiotic free, free range to an extent. Did you know that 70% of all the antibiotics manufactured in the United States are used on farm animals to prevent illness? So in eating anything but antibiotic-free meats, you are ingesting antibiotics that have in turn created superbugs that cannot, so antibiotics no longer can cure the disease. Sorry, I'm getting going on these tangents. 2 times the amount of antibiotics created in the world are used as preventative measure in farm animals. So when we take them when we're sick, they don't work anymore. So antibiotic free. It's also primarily grass-fed. The last 90 days of their lives, they do supplement with grain. If you've ever been to South Point on the Big Island, it's probably the driest place in the state, and it's not ideal place for raising cattle on grass. We had a problem with that because you're importing grain from the mainland, and we're thinking about food security here, but it really makes a difference. Grass-fed beef many times is strong and people aren't used to it. So I'm gonna let you cook some steak.
Yeah.
So if this dish comes out really terrible, I can blame you. So you always want to bring your steak or meat out to room temperature before you cook it, whatever it may be, fish, pork. Flip it over, season both sides with salt and pepper. Flip the other one. Really, really hot grill. We've got this cranked all the way. So you can put it on an angle, right? Thinking medium rare, 5 or 6 minutes aside. We'll see where it comes out. The next part of this dish, you can just leave it there for a little bit. Dude, you want to rinse this off? Next part of this dish is just going to be kind of like lomi salmon, lomi tomatoes. We got steak, poi, lomi salmon. It's not really lomi salmon, it's just tomatoes. I'm going to let you take care of this too as well, dude. So Duke's got a little trick that many of you may find useful. at home. These are Hope Farms grape tomatoes. Hope Farms is located out in Kahuku. It's a second generation farm, but it's really run by the kids, Shin and Neil Ho. They are many times the face of the future of agriculture in Hawaii. They've come and they've really taken things to a new level. Why don't we wait for a second until I'm done with this talking. This is interesting. These are the sort of messages that they send to us in their deliveries. This just happened to be with the grape tomato. We all understand the importance of island sustainability, but without the first step of making available land and water, there will be no progress. I look forward to getting Hope Farm delivered to the restaurant because there's always something in this. Last week it just said support local farmers. A lot of propaganda. These kids went away to the mainland, learned the marketing skills, and they came back and they're putting it to good use. Kids love these. This was like candy in our family when these kids were younger. So these can be found at Whole Foods, Farmers Market, anywhere. So this is something that we do at the restaurant, and we taught Duke, and things with cutting one by one little tomatoes is kind of a pain in the butt. Find yourself two plates. Dun, ta-da! Do another batch, just right in the border. So getting those nice crisscross grill marks, I just turned those steaks 45 degrees. Another part of this is Maui onion. Whenever you cook anything, we always try to introduce an element of umami. Who knows what umami is? Umami, she's not here right now. No, umami is the fifth flavor. It's sugar, salty, sweet, sour, bitter. The Japanese came up with identified this new flavor that we've all gotten. It's called umami. It's referring to savoriness and mouth-coating feel. It can be found in any of the things with onion family, garlic, fermented products, fish sauce, patis, shoyu. They're all watching you, Duke. I'm right here, aren't you? And so everything we do, capers, olives, they've all got this degree of umami. So we always try to incorporate something with some umami into every dish. It's an unidentifiable flavor profile. So just in this tomato salad, we're just going to do just a little bit of really thinly sliced Maui onion, just to add that little extra savoriness. How about flipping your steak? Woo! Look at that. Can you see that? Oh, you can't see it. Show that. Hold it up so they can see that. Wow. Nice job, dude. Same thing with the pa'i. Season both sides with a little salt, a little pepper. Your water running so I go Feel free to ask questions as we go here too. I'm going to run out of things to say.
What is that?
This.
No,
this is olive oil. Yeah. This, if you look at this meal, it's probably 100% local, except for the olive oil. The only oil we really got here is macadamia oil, and I don't like it. I've got to behave myself. I don't care for it. During the Eat Local Challenge once a year, we offer a few 100%, actually do a full 100% local meal, salad, entree, desserts, and we use macadamia oil. It's just not the same as good extra virgin olive oil. So you'll just season your hot pan and lay your pa'i right down on it. One trick with pa'i, where's our cones? Can I grab these ones? No, yeah, the middle one. Just like with potatoes, butter is better. So. And this actually is not Negikau dairy butter, which is the only local butter, so I take it back. We don't have local butter today either. But it is possible. We usually do.
Is that the farmer's market right here?
Yeah. And it's incredible. It's butter made by by their cattle. I guess we'll finish this up. This is just dressed with a little chili pepper water. This is chilies from our garden at home. And that's really it. Again, salt and pepper. The food we do at the restaurants is really simple. We often say it's like an old Italian grandmother cooked it. Not into fancy stacked ring molds, smears and foams and things. It's really just all about the ingredients, where they came from, and what they're really truly supposed to taste like. The last element of the salad, we're just putting it all together now, is watercress. This wasn't on Duke's entry in the contest, and if he had put it on, he may not have won, because he's more in tune with what people like than we are. But we added it anyway. So this is watercress from Kaimuki, believe it or not, driest place on earth. It is grown by an individual, a man named Fred Lum. He has a little 2,000 square foot red dirt patch in the back of his yard, a big pond with tilapia in it, and 3 long beds that he has successfully cultivated watercress with very minimal inputs. Feeds the fish poop in the water, fertilizes the watercress, and it does this complete cycle. So we do get tilapia from him, and obviously when we do get tilapia from him, we serve it with his watercress. If it grows together, it goes together. People at CTAR, College of Tropical Agriculture at UH, forever told him growing watercress in an aquaponic system is not possible. And he said, oh yeah, he took it as a challenge, and he has been extremely successful with this system, and he just sold it for big bucks to somebody that I don't know. But so the watercress, again, I mean, this is just incredible, peppery, but not too bitter. Just take some of the watercress. Kind of cool. Sometimes there's actually flowers growing on it. We never throw those out. We always include them. Little Meyer lemon juice, Ma'o Organic Farm out in Hawai'i. Meyer lemon. Little olive oil.
That's pure lemon juice?
Yep. Yeah, we hate to be that guy that has to do that. Wear gloves if you're going to juice that many lemons. Salt and pepper. Again, real simple. Nothing fancy thing. So you'll take your meat off. Whenever you grill your meat, you always take it off the grill and let it rest for a little while. The juices have this tendency to be pushed out of the meat. If you let it sit for 3 to 4 minutes, the juices will equalize in the meat again, and when you slice it, it won't bleed all over. You want to cut it? Go ahead. So Bruce's just going to make some nice little slices. Again, this is something you could totally do at home. You don't need a board and a stone. You can just go to Whole Foods and pick this stuff up. Pa'iai, actually, it's interesting. A year ago, it was illegal to serve in a commercial setting because they had no precedence about using a porous board and a porous stone. But we said, yeah, there's no precedence because nobody has gotten sick eating that way in 250 years. And so after going to legislature and going back and forth, it finally got approved. Actually, there was a day last year where the Board of Health came into our restaurants and made us dump all our pa'iai into the trash. But now it's perfectly legal, so we do serve it at the restaurant. So what we're going to do for this dish is take your pa'iai, put it on the bottom. It doesn't have to be a stack. We're just doing it this way. This is how Duke plated it at the Holly. No, it isn't. That's why you don't have a microphone, because you can't prove it wrong. Hawai'i Festival is a little watercress. Beef and watercress is one of the most classic French combinations you'll ever find. It's like tomato and basil and raspberry and chocolate. Then you'll lay your steak right across the watercress. Just like that. So take some of the juice and put it around the bottom of the bowl. Who can see that? Does this mirror work? No. No? How's this?
There you go. There you go.
So this is Duke Kenny's award-winning grass-fed steak, pa'iai, and lomi tomato.